How's it, everyone? Welcome to the second press conference of the KFlow 2 boxing event happening tomorrow on Friday, 25th of October at ETA College. Got Matt Hay here, Taro with us. These two will be fighting each other. Unfortunately, my opponent's not here right now, ducking me. But, the vibes, just, going to get some questions in from the crowd. Let's run it.
Question for James. What's your opinion on your opponent, Uzayr, missing past press conference on Monday and now this one today? How do you think it's going to change your mentality for the fight?
Yeah, look, I don't think it'll change much for my mentality, but if his excuses are legit, then I wish him all the best. But as long as he doesn't duck me on the night, then I'm happy.
Just a question for Taro. I noticed you got a recent change in your opposition. How do you feel about going against Mr. Matt Hay?
My last opponent was, all due respect to him, a bit of a lower level fighter, but I still appreciated him coming out. It was a switch up, but I'm glad it's Matt. I've sparred with him a couple times, and I can tell he has good footwork, he has good fitness, and he is at a pretty good level. So it will definitely be a challenge, and I'm keen for it. So yeah.
Next question. I have a question for James. James, if you can hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so I know there's been a bit of changes with the fight night schedule, and you've gone from fighting in the curtain raiser to back to fighting in the main event, just like last year. So what have you learned from last year in terms of fighting in the main event, and how will you ensure that you conquer the nerves this time round and take the win?
Sweet. So I think if I compare myself to last year, I'm almost a completely different boxer. Completely different in many ways, physically, mentally, skill level. Obviously, it's all changed since last year. I'm fighting 3 weight classes up since last year. I've built a lot of experience in the last a year and a half since that last fight. So yeah, look, I don't really care if I'm fighting first, if I'm fighting last, as long as I'm getting in the ring. That's all that matters, to be honest. And for this specific event, I just want to put on a show and have fun, to be honest. Yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Matthew Hay. What are your expectations from this fight in terms of both performance as well as fundraising?
I think it's going to be a good event overall. Fundraising, I think it's such a good initiative, especially bringing a whole lot of athletes together to put on a show, put on a performance. I think it's going to be a very challenging night for a lot of people. There's going to be adversity, there's going to be struggle, but like all the people that I've met here, they are strong personalities, they're strong people in general, and I think we'll put on a good show.
Thank you very much.
Question for Taro. How's your training camp been leading up to this fight, inside and outside of the sparring sessions?
So, well, first of all, I'm a swimmer, so my training camp has kind of been keeping the swimming going just so it keeps my cardio level high. And then I've been incorporating just some boxing into my weekly routine.
Want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so basically I've kept my swimming to slightly lower volume, so about 3 times a week, and then I've tried to incorporate it 2 to 3 land training sessions a week just to pick up on my boxing fitness and also just get used to the footwork, because obviously it's a completely different sport, different movement, so just getting those sessions in is important. I know with boxing a lot of people do running to get their cardio up, but for me, just because I'm a swimmer, it just made sense to keep the swimming going. So there's been some changes, but not too dramatic.
I've got a question for Mr. Coombe. What do you consider the biggest challenge your opponent brings?
Good question. Good question. So I think I haven't really had much experience against him or seen much of what he's capable of. Obviously, I've spotted a couple times with him now. But other than that, I think the biggest challenge is probably just punch his chance, to be honest.
Off that question, do you feel your fight is more of a proper boxing fight compared to the other ones?
100%, yeah. Obviously, myself and my opponent are relatively experienced. Yeah, I mean, if you compare it to the the other guys fighting, they're all new. So I think our fight will be the most technical, be the most fun to watch from a crowd perspective, because it is involving two relatively experienced boxers. So yeah.
And since you guys haven't sparred as much as the other fighters, how do you think that's going to affect your fight on the night? Good or bad?
I think it's going to affect it pretty well for me. We have sparred a few rounds, probably about, I think about it, 8 rounds, me and him. It's only so much you can see in 8 rounds. And I've shown less than he has, I'll put it like that.
My question is for Matt and for Taro. So I do know James has a lot of boxing experience, but correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your guys' first boxing match?
Correct,
yeah. So I just wanted to know, if you guys win or if you guys lose, how will you deal with that, and will you carry on boxing, or is this just a one-off?
No, definitely. I think win or lose, it's all about the event at the end of the day. So if, say for example, he wins and I lose, it's definitely still something that I'm going to pursue. But it's not, I'm not gonna go and sulk and cry about losing or whatever. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stay there, watch the other fights and support the event, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not about winning, it's not about losing, it's about the event that we're putting on. So yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, this is both our first time boxing in a ring. But for me, I'd say I think no one wants to get completely beat up on the night, which I don't think will happen to either of us. In terms of whether I'll keep boxing or not, I think I probably will keep doing it. I don't know if I'll do another fight or event after this, but I think I'll definitely keep on improving. When I'm at the gym, just doing a bit of bag work, bit of skipping, just to keep the fitness up. So I think it will definitely be something I'll incorporate into the future. In terms of doing another fight, I don't know if that will happen, but yeah, this is perhaps it is kind of just a once-off thing. We'll see.
Yeah, I've got another one quick before anyone else goes. Without giving too much away, we'll start with Matt this time. What can the viewers expect from you in terms of strategy?
Without giving too much away, I would say, if I had to put in a word, I would say relentless. So not going to back down to anything. If I get hit, that's fine. Just keep walking down, keep my guard up. Yeah.
For me, viewers can expect just a lot of the basics, a lot of relying on the fundamental stuff, because that's what works. Maybe a little bit of fun, maybe a little bit of entertainment, stuff they haven't seen before.
Probably trying, I guess, not to give too much away, but not going all out in the first round. That's probably my first strategy. Just a bit of energy conservation. But other than that, I think that's all I can give away at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a question for Taro and for Matt again. So I wanted to ask you guys, you said this is your first time in a boxing fight, but have you guys performed in front of a crowd previously? If you have, how will you take that experience in this fight, where there will be quite a decent sized crowd focusing on you guys? I mean, if you haven't, just how will you mentally prepare to have this fight in front of a large crowd?
Sure. So for me, I've had experience in swimming and in life saving with having a large crowd spectating. I'd say there's definitely nerves to draw from experience. I'd say nerves show that you care about the outcome of the fight, so it's always a good thing to actually have them.
Coming from a quite an extensive water polo background, I've played in front of quite substantial crowds, but obviously boxing is my first time. But obviously you take the same principles from sport to sport. So staying cool, staying calm, staying collected. Don't let the moment get your head, because if you do that, then you find yourself slipping down a very, very slippery slope. Whether that be putting your opponent in danger or putting yourself in danger, especially in boxing. So yeah, just staying calm, not doing too much, but obviously still staying in the fight, and don't let the crowd do too much, but obviously ride off the energy of the crowd and put on a bit of a show.
Yeah, I've got a final question just for myself. I'll move over to Matt. So, starting with Matt, how do you guys get it done on Friday?
Very quickly. Just sticking it through. I feel like it's going to go through to points. It'll be very close, but just staying in the fight at all times.
Obviously the goal isn't to knock anyone out. It's not about that, as I've stated many times before. I think it'll go to points for me, but unanimous decision, end of the 3 rounds. Going to put on a performance, and there literally won't be any way for the judges to think otherwise.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I thought this was an exhibition fight, so I didn't know there were judges. But in terms of how I'm going to get it done, I'd say probably with precision, trying not to over punch. So I'd say if I'd relate it to boxing, probably points. That's what would work for me. So yeah.
I've got a question for all 3 boxers. What has been your most memorable moment preparing for this event, both mentally as well as physically? What's been the biggest shift?
I would say my most memorable moment was from the first spar, it being just a friendly spar, a couple of touches here and there, and then one of the last ones that we had, actually sparring Taro, a shout from the crowd saying, "We're not friends here. We're not friends." Yeah. That was definitely my most memorable mid-fight. Just threw me off completely. But yeah, just the process in general. It's completely different to me. It's new to me. But it's very exciting, and it's definitely something that I could see myself doing in the future and look to pursue.
So most memorable moment, honestly, the whole process, just in general, the amount I've improved in the camp that I've been in, putting in the work, seeing the improvement as a whole is just nice to see, and then also just teaching people along the way is also very fulfilling. Teaching people like Matt, teaching people like Taro, the guys in the event and just, getting them interested in a new sport, and relaying the skills and the information that I have to them, I think that in general is just, it's been lacquer.
So for me, I'd say the most memorable would be the sparring. It's like the first time I've actually been punched in the face. So definitely, it's one of those things you do remember. I think I'd say probably the sparring, just because I've never been in a actual fight, because I've never done combat sports or anything like that. So I'd say the sparring's definitely been most memorable. I definitely can pick up on a few moments in the sparring. Taking that first jab to the nose, it's a bit of it's a new experience, but it's been good. So yeah.
Now, I have a question, Taro and Matt. So I've noticed you guys to be, I wouldn't say close, but there's not really bad blood, or you guys seem civil towards each other. So how are you going to try forget about that in the ring? And at the end of the day, you are trying to beat your opponent. So how are you going to leave that at the door and see that man in front of you as your enemy on fight night?
I mean, so obviously we've only known each other maybe a week, so there's nothing, no personal beef or anything like that. In terms of the fights, for me, I see it as nothing personal. I don't think Matt does either. It's just getting in there. We both know we're trying to hit each other. We're both trying to do the same thing. So it's basically just shutting that off. But in terms of seeing any type of beef between each other, I don't think there is. But I think it's just about shutting that off, and then just going in the ring and performing, just like you do with any other sport. So that's how I see it.
There isn't any beef between us. At the end of the day, when we step into the ring, the sparring does create a bond. It does create a bit of a friendship, but obviously we haven't been sparring for too long. But I've played against a lot of my friends in high stakes games, in water polo or whatever, finals, penalty shootouts. And in those instances, we're very close outside the pool, but in the pool, there's no friends. It's just that kind of mentality that you have to have I'm sure in combat sports, it's also very, very similar. But no beef between us, but hopefully it's a very good event.
Going into this fight, what is there that you guys want to send out to all the fans and supporters out there?
I think for me personally, just this one is more about myself than the crowd, to be honest. But I just want to put on a good show, bring some attention to the sport of boxing, whether it's on campus, whether it's whoever's watching, support a good cause in Chalk. And it was a very big personal one for me, not necessarily about the people who are watching, to be honest,
Are you entertained?
Definitely put on a bit of a show. But it's definitely a lot for myself, just to show myself that I can put myself through adversity and I can get out the end of it. But hopefully it's a really good spectacle on the night. It's for such a good cause, and really happy to be involved.